Okay, we're going to factor some trinomials now. So we're going to start with the type that looks like x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so normally there's an a out here in the general form, but the a is going to be equal to 1. Okay, so our coefficient out front is a 1. So when we factor these type of trinomials, we're going to see that they came from multiplying binomials, which we've already seen. So remember when we had something like x plus 2 times x plus 3, we could use FOIL. All right, so we do first, outer, inner, last. And remember when we did FOIL, okay, it looks like this. Remember when we did FOIL, the middle two numbers would combine because they were both x terms. And we would get x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay, and remember that the middle term here should be the sum of the two numbers, okay, x plus or minus a number. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. So that comes from the OI combining to give us the middle one, and then the L, which is the last two, 2 times 3, combining there. All right, so when we're factoring trinomials that look like this, we're doing the reverse. So we're doing the reverse of FOIL. Okay, so if we were starting with this and we didn't know where it came from, we would look for factors of 6. That would give us 5. So we could say like 1 and 6. That won't combine to give us 5. 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. Those are our factors. Okay, and you can always FOIL it back out again to make sure you have the right one. All right, so let's go through and do some of these. So let's say we've got x squared minus 3x. Let's start with positive first. Okay, we'll do that one in a second. Let's do x squared plus 7x plus 10. Let's do that one. Okay, so we're looking for factors of 10, and they need to add up to 7. So we've got 1 and 10. We've got 2 and 5. Okay, 3 doesn't go in, 4 doesn't go in, 5 does go in, but we've already got that right there. So once you hit a factor you already have, you know that you're done. And we already have a combination that gives us 7. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 plus 5 is 7. So we should be able to have our factors as x plus 2, x plus 5. And then remember, you can always multiply it back out to check. Okay, and we see we get 2 plus 5 is 7, and we get 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so that's the checking part. All right, so our answer does work, x plus 2, x plus 5. Okay, now let's try one with a negative in it. Let's say we've got x squared minus 2x minus 15. Okay, so we're looking for factors of negative 15 now. First, we're just going to do the factors of 15, then we're going to come back to the negative. So the factors of 15 would be 1 and 15. 2 doesn't go in, 3 does go in, 4 doesn't go in, 5 does go in, but we've already got that, so that means we've got all the factors. Okay, so here's all the factors of 15. We're looking for the combination that will give us 2, and we know that it needs to be opposite sign to give us a negative 15. Okay, so this is the combination that's going to give us 2. We need to get negative 2, which means the bigger one is going to have to be negative. All right, double check. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. Okay, so those are our factors. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. I don't think I have room there. Let's come over here. Okay, so let's try a couple more. Let's say we've got x squared plus x minus 12. Okay, so we're looking for factors of negative 12. So we've got, let's just do the 12 part first. 1 goes in, 2 goes in, 3 goes in, 4 goes in, but we've already got that factor, so that means we've gotten all of them. Okay, they're going to be opposite sign, so we're looking for the combination that will give us a 1. Okay, so 4 and 3 will give us a 1. Now let's decide on signs. We need the bigger one to be positive because this is going to come out to positive 1. So that means the little one's going to be negative, the big one's going to be positive. All right, so x minus 3, x plus 4. Let's double check. They multiply to be negative 12, and they add to be positive 1. So we have the right combination. If you come out with the wrong sign in the middle, that means you need to reverse these. Okay, let's do one more. Let's say we've got x squared. Let's do minus 9x plus 18. Okay, x squared minus 9x plus 18. Okay, so we need factors of 18. So let's do that first. So 1 goes in, 2 goes into 18, 3 goes into 18, 4 does not, 5 does not, 6 does. Oh, goodness. Let's fix that first. 2 times 9 is 18. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 go in, 4 doesn't, 5 doesn't, 6 does, but we've already got that factor, so that means we've got all of them. We're looking for the combination that's going to give us 9. Okay, so we need a positive 18 and a negative 9. That means both of them are going to have to be negative. So they both have to be negative, so that they multiply to be positive and they add to be negative. Okay, so which combination is going to give us 9? That's going to be right here, and they've got to both be negative. So x minus 3, x minus 6, let's double check. They multiply to be positive 18, they add to be negative 9. Okay? Okay, so now we know how to factor those type of trinomials. Let's try the other type that we're going to look at. So factoring, we're still doing factoring trinomials, but this time we're going to do ax squared plus bx plus c, and this time the a is not 1. All right, so this time we're going to have a number out front. All right, so these are a little bit different. We're going to use a method to solve these. So let's look at what they look like when we multiply them out. So let's say we've got 2x plus 3, x plus 4. Okay, so we still do FOIL. So we've got first, whoops, let's make that look right. First, outer, inner, last. All right, so when we FOIL this out, we're going to get 2x squared plus 8x plus 3x plus 12. So we're going to get 2x, 2x squared plus 11x plus 12. Okay, so there's a little bit more going on here. It's not the same as the other ones because of this 2 out front here, which gives us a 2 out front here. Okay, that 2 out front is going to change things a little bit. So if you notice, it's not just the factors of 12 that decide this middle number. Okay, it's the factors of 12 and this 2 comes into play on the outer part. Okay, so we can't just look at the factors of 12 that give us 11 because that's not going to work. So we also need to take this 2 into consideration. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something called the AC method. Now the AC method works if you have a 1 out front as well, but you don't need to go through all of this. Okay, you can do it the way that we did before. All right, so how do we factor with the AC method? So let's take this one. We already know how it factors. Okay, but let's use the AC method in reverse and make sure we get back to where we started. So for the AC method, what you do is you look at the factors of AC. So A is right here, C is right here. So you do A times C, which is 24. All right, so we're going to look for look through the factors of 24. All right, 1, 24. 2 goes into it, 2, 12. 3 goes into it, 3, 8. 4 goes into it, 4, 6. 5 does not. 6 does, but we already have that factor. So we've got all of them. Now we're looking for the combination that's going to give us 11 in the middle. That's 3 and 8. Okay, now this time those aren't our factors, right? Because the 2 out front changes things a little bit. Those aren't our factors. That's what we're going to use to break up the middle term. So 11x is going to become 3x plus 8x. That's how we use the 3 and the 8 this time. So we're going to rewrite this as 2x squared plus 3x plus 8x. The order doesn't matter. You can do 8 and then 3 or 3 and then 8. It does not matter. It'll come out the same in the end. Plus 12. Okay, so we break up that middle term. Now, if you look at this, 4 terms, what do we remember? Factor by grouping. Okay, so we can take an x out of the first term. We've got 2x plus 3. We can take a 4 out of the second group, and we're left with 2x plus 3. And the 2x plus 3's match. Remember, we're looking for that. So we can take the 2x plus 3 out to the front, and we're left with x plus 4. Okay, and if you look, that matches what we started with over here. And you can even look at this row. You can see that it matches that row. So really, we're still doing the opposite of FOIL. It's just going to change a little bit because of this 2 out front. Okay, so again, the steps are 1, find factors of AC, not just C, factors of AC. 2, use those factors to break up the middle term, the bx term. Okay, so you're going to rewrite the bx term. And then the third step is to factor by grouping. Okay, so that's the AC method when we have a number out front. All right, so let's try that with another one. Okay, let's see. Let's do, let me find a good one. All right, let's do 4x squared minus 19x plus 12. Okay, now when we're doing all of these, remember to look for a GCF first. Okay, sometimes I forget to say that, but you have to look for a GCF first, because if there is one, first of all, it's going to make your life a lot easier, but second of all, you've got to get it pulled out when you can. All right, so 4, 19, and 12, not going to have anything in common. We can't take an x out because they don't all have an x. All right, so we're going to do the AC method. So we're looking at, let's rewrite this. Oops. Okay, so we're looking at factors of AC. And AC this time is going to be 4 times 12 is 48. So factors of 48, we're going to stop when we hit a combination that gives us 19. They're going to be same sign, so they're going to combine to be 19, not difference of 19. All right, so let's go. 1 goes in always, 1 in 48. 2 goes in. 3 goes in. And nope, that, yeah, that's going to be our combination. Yeah. 3 times 16. Yep, that's our combination. Okay, so we need this combination, and we need them both to be negative. Okay, negative times negative is positive. Negative plus negative is negative. All right, so we're going to use those to rewrite our middle term. So we're going to have negative 3x, negative 16x. That's what we're going to do with the 19. All right, so everything else stays the same. 4x squared minus 3x minus 16x plus 12. And we're going to factor by grouping. All right, so we can take an x out of the first term. So we've got 4x minus 3. All right, the second group, we can take a 4 out. If we take a 4 out, the signs aren't going to match those. So let's take a negative 4 out. That'll reverse the sign, so we have positive negative, which is what we want, positive negative. Okay, so here we're going to be left with 4x. Taking a negative out changes the sign, so that's minus. And taking a 4 out, we're left with 3. Okay, so remember to be careful with those signs. The 4x minus 3 matches. We got that in both terms. So we can pull that out to the front, and we're left with x minus 4. Okay, and you can multiply it back out and double check. You should get back where we started.